Hey everybody, Coach Kyle today. I'm coming at you and we're going to talk about, well, mobility and maybe why you have enough mobility to do the movement, yet you still struggle in the movement. Now that seems kind of crazy, right? Well, we have to talk about a couple things. Gravity, resistance, and what you're actually doing to mobilize. So we're going to demonstrate a couple random band stretches, hip stretches, and some hip mobility drills. You've seen a ton of them. Maybe you've seen all of them already and you're still struggling even though you have pretty mobile hips while you're stretching on the ground. You put a bar on your back or we put load on your body that can even be resistance, just your body in gravity, and all of a sudden things change. One piece that we have to take out right away, because we're not going to talk about squat technique today, but if you've followed us for a while, you know if my feet are too close, I'm in an anterior tilt even, I'm going to run into my own femurs, I'm never going to hit depth without butt wink. So let's just take that argument out. I'm going to throw it out. And let's say that squat mechanics are as close to perfect as possible, yet there's a bar on your back and you still deal with problems hitting depth. One, the biggest difference is if I'm mobilizing lay on the ground like I'm going to show, we are not in a loaded movement. There's no resistance from the supportive musculature of my body to hold me up. The other is it's a completely different movement and motion. So let's look about it and then talk why banded stretches, all this hip mobility, may not be your issue. First one we're going to set up is some kind of a hip distraction. There's a ton of them. Just want to demonstrate a couple popular stretches here. So if I'm having trouble hitting depth, right, I want to make sure that I have enough hip flexion to get there. Now, my back might be coming up is one of my problems, so I'm actually rounding my back and I'm not in a good stacked neutral position. You can see how much difference that gave us. I feel like I have great hip mobility here, but maybe it's just my positioning of the stretch. Regardless, I can add some hip flossing to that, some internal, external rotation. Hip feels awesome. Spent 5 minutes with that. I'm ready to squat. Come over here, do some 90-90s, some other things. Get on the wall. I can even add a band here for band resistance, waking up those glutes. My external rotation at the bottom of my squat, the bottom of hip flexion. And then I jump up to squat. The bar on my back or body weight, immediately my body's acting differently. Why? Load. I'm unloaded, but I have gravity. There's resistance on my body and the musculature. Because of that resistance, you can see that hip went through full range of motion, but because I'm resisted, the entire structures, the entire systems have now changed. And resistance, again, doesn't matter. I could be doing my goblet squats, barbell on my back for my first sets. So what we're saying is, if you're having trouble with mobility in the movement, there's plenty of mobility drills you should be doing. We have provided a ton of them for you, both free content here on IGTV and paid for kabuki.ms. But maybe, just maybe, with all that extra hip mobility work, maybe you need to spend more time in the actual movement itself. If you want to fix the movement, fix it within the movement itself, then address mobility concerns outside of it, including your fancy hip mobilization drills, your stretching drills. But don't forget, those are a completely different kind of mobility because I'm not loaded under gravity and or resistance of a heavy bar. Hopefully that helps. Go fix your squat.